I had to run downstairs and go find this. Now I'm like sort of out of breath now. Okay. Greetings, Earthlings. This is me as a little girl. Can you see that? In my mom's garden, hanging out. That's me. This ritual is all about finding a photo like this. One of you as a child that you are really feeling happy to look at, okay? Because I have lots of pictures of me as a child that are just not interesting, like you're running across the yard, or a lot of me crying at birthday parties. I got really overwhelmed with like big groups of people. But find a photo that makes you happy to look at. I remember being so annoyed that my mom put me in this dress because I didn't like it. But as an adult, I look at that dress and I go, it's so cute. What was I thinking? Okay, so I want you to find a photo like this. And I want you to either put it on a piece of paper or next to you as you're journaling. You can put it on your altar if you have an altar. And we're going to talk to this inner child a bit. We're going to dig up some dreams and ambitions and ideas that this inner child had. And the reason that I want you to have a photo is because it's really easy to, when you're doing inner child work, to think about the progress you've made or get distracted by the many different times in your life that have the ups and downs, the versions of yourself you've been. And I really want you to anchor yourself on just a couple photos. Maybe one is ideal, but a few photos where you were just really happy and in your element, when there was sort of this purity of purpose, this sense of, I can do anything. You know, a version of yourself that had not yet been told that there's going to be challenges and barriers and how often you're going to be told no and how hard things are going to be. So I'm going to give you sort of a witchier version, but again, you can just do this in a journal. I want you to put it in a sacred circle. This can be an officially cast circle where you can call in the elements. You can just use a little bit of salt. For me, I like to do circles like this with dried flower petals, especially roses, because I worship the goddess Aphrodite. And so I take my rose petals and I will create a circle on the ground. And I will put this photo in the middle. And then I'm going to take pieces of paper and I'm going to write down things that my inner child, this version of me, wanted to do. Things that she believed, things that she noticed, things she thought were important, dreams that she had, fears and hopes. I'm going to write them all down and surround that image with those scraps of paper. As you're doing this, I want you to start to notice which things you still hang on to. Do you still believe in fairies? Do you still want to write a book? Do you still want to be the first woman president? Because, you know, unfortunately, we still haven't had one. As you start to think about this, maybe you'll notice that some of these dreams have actually sort of shifted or changed or just evolved. For instance, when I was this little girl, I wanted to start my own country and make my own language. And so I designated my parents' yard, which was 5 acres, to be MeagoloLand. And I created the Meagolo language, which was literally just an encyclopedia I built on printer paper of a bunch of words in English and their Meagolo equivalent. It was basically made by switching alphabet letters out, like switching out vowels and consonants, which actually is kind of clever. There's a creek that ran through the yard. I thought, okay, well that will sort of designate the north and south parts of the country. And we have the blackberry patch here. We have the garden over here. My parents grew corn and tomatoes and stuff. So we have plenty of food, we have plenty of water, we have plenty of blackberries, you know, we need those. And we have the forest over there with plenty of wood, and all my friends just need to bring tents and sleeping bags, and we can just start to construct our own little country. And that was my vision. And this didn't just last for like a summer, okay? I was really into this for like a number of years, to the point where, you know, family and friends still bring it up with me. Like, I was really into this idea. As an adult, obviously I'm not trying to secede from the United... Actually, Scadia doesn't sound bad. What I actually was wanting then and want now, how that dream has evolved, is that I want community, and I want to be the person to help facilitate community. I want to bring people together. I want to create stuff with cool people. I want to build something fun and different. I want to take things the way they are and make them just a little bit better and more personal. And that dream is something I'm now pursuing, right? I told you about Enchanted Ambitions. I told you about how it's starting as a newsletter, but my actual goal is to build a real community off of it. But that's a dream that this little girl had, the MeagoloLand fantasy. has come to me in this form as an adult with, let's make a community for like-minded people to feel safe, supported, to feel abundant. So what is yours? Did you want to be a race car driver? What does that mean for you now? Did you want to travel to every country? What does that mean for you now? And to equal measure, are there any dreams that you actually have already achieved to some extent? To take another example from my childhood, I had this vision of backpacking along the Ganges. I got this book on Buddhism when I was like 10, and I was like, oh, okay, that's where you go to be enlightened. Okay, you go to India, because I knew India had Hinduism, and then I learned about Buddhist thought, and so I thought, okay, cool, that's spiritual growth will happen there. So I had this vision of, I'm going to get a backpack when I'm 18, before I go to college. I'm going to take a gap year, I'm going to backpack along the Ganges, hang out in India for a year, and then I'll go to college. And I was thinking this at like 10. I did not backpack the Ganges, but I did take my ass to Nepal for 5 weeks after I left Japan the first time, when I went to go be with my father, who was dying. I believe my dad his death was imminent. He was given just 3 or 4 years to live from his heart condition. And I moved to Japan, and I had been there for 2 years. And I thought, okay, well, he either has 1 year left or 2 years left, so I might as well go home and spend it with my dad. And so between leaving Japan and going home, I spent 5 weeks in Nepal all by myself. Really broke as well. I had to sell my hiking boots in like the last week for like $50 to another tourist person in order to have enough money to eat until it was time to catch my flight home. My dad was horrified. I did not tell him any of this while I was there. I just told him everything was fine. The good news is my dad's alive. He beat the diagnosis. He still has his heart condition. He still, needs to take things easy. I digress. My point is that I had this grand vision and dream, and no, I don't need to spend a whole gap year backpacking along the Ganges, but the spirit of that idea was that I wanted to go to South Asia. I wanted to go somewhere different. I wanted to be exposed to a different way of life, of philosophy, of religion, of spiritual growth, of ritual, of polytheism especially. And I wanted to see that for myself. I wanted to be in it, to absorb some of it, not just witness it as a tourist, but to have enough time to absorb a little bit of it. And I was able to make that happen with my trip to Nepal. I suspect that there are some dreams that you're going to identify by doing the childhood archaeology ritual that you have achieved to some extent, and you've achieved them in a way that it is enough. And you can tell this picture of you, we did it, right? I can tell this girl, I'm building MeagoloLand. I can tell this girl that yes, we backpacked the Ganges, in the same way that you tell a kid, yes, something is real, believe in the magic. I can tell you that yes, those dreams were fulfilled. They didn't look like the way you thought because you were a child, but we made it happen. And there's a few dreams that this little girl had that I haven't started working on yet. And I'm going to. A beautiful way to open this ritual and close this ritual, whether or not you consider yourself a witchy person, is to write a letter or to say a prayer aloud, if that is your preference, to this person, especially at the beginning. I want to get to know you. Remind me of yourself. Bring yourself back up. I know I carry you in me. I know there's memories that I have for too long not touched on, not welcomed in. I want to sit with you right now. Tiny Bree, I want to sit with you right now. I want to hear your wants, your needs, your desires. Tell me again how you wish your name was Vanessa. I want you to talk to this person for a minute and invite their presence, their spirit. It's coming from you anyway, right? Invite it in, journal it out, write the scraps of paper, do sticky notes. You could do it digitally too if you want, if you're more of a computer person. And at the end, say, thank you for sharing these with me. Oh, I forgot about that one. Your dreams were so beautiful. Your dreams are so beautiful. You're so creative. You're so silly. You're so fun. I'm so glad that I grew up with you, that I still carry you in me. Say those things to this person. And then maybe say, here's the things that I've done, that we've done, that you've done. And here are the things that we're going to do next. The way that this applies to our careers should, I hope, be obvious. This is about self-actualization. This is about recognizing that the version of you who was small and vulnerable, but also full of beliefs, like self-belief, full of creative impetus, who really didn't understand why we couldn't just do things better. Let's take, for example, maybe you're really into animal welfare. Maybe you are very concerned about factory farming. And your childhood self would say, well, let's just not do it that way. Let's just do it this way, right? As you become an adult, you become aware of all of the red tape, the politics, the difficulties of affecting change. And it's easy to sort of start to talk that voice down. No, we can't do anything about it. It is what it is, right? And we allow ourselves to get put into a smaller and smaller box of staying in our seat, of doing what we're told. And this exercise is all about bringing back that, maybe that naivety, right? Naivete, but bringing back that self-belief, that willingness to say, that's not right? Because that's the other thing too that children can do. They can just say what they want. They can say what they think. They can offer an opinion. They can comment on stuff. And adults can go, oh, that was rude. Oh my gosh, oh children, all the darndest things they say or whatever. Children say the darndest things. You can bring that to work. You can say, I don't think that makes sense. I think we can do this better. Can you explain that again? But this time, tell me how it benefits X or how it helps Y. I hear your idea. I hear that this is the way things are done. I hear this is the progression route that we're on. But I don't think it's actually the most effective. I think we could get to the heart of the matter by doing blah, 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 right? You can speak for the ideals and beliefs of this inner child in the workplace, and you can also follow those dreams for yourself too. I hope you get a chance to do this childhood archaeology ritual. I have had a few people already do it and tell me about how it went, so I'm really eager to hear more feedback. There was one person shared with me just all the memories they have of playing with their sibling. And that was just really interesting to me because I grew up with my sisters being much older than me. I was a child and they were in high school and out of the house. So they kind of felt like aunts. So I didn't grow up with a sibling in the house. So most of my childhood memories are quite independent, introverted, and doing my own thing. And so to have sort of this contrasting story shared with me about, well, my childhood was like a lot of learning how to share, a lot of noise, a lot of compromise, but also a lot of fun and friendship and love for your sibling or siblings if you have multiple. That was really interesting to me because it's something I hadn't even considered. So I would love to hear about your childhood and what made it special and unique and memorable for you, and what's come out of this exercise, come out of this ritual, and how you're going to bring it into your life today. Hey, with that said, I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. Don't let anyone treat you like shit. I will see you on Monday.